You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Jay Sarmaz, co-founder and CEO of Truvy, the AI-powered legal analytics platform. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing great, Benny. How are you today?
Good. So you're located out there in Atlanta. Appreciate you coming on today. A lot of cool stuff. Went to the website for Truvy. Looks really interesting. You're integrating a lot of awesome things. And I'm definitely excited to talk about the AI aspect of things, as that's like a huge focus right now. So before we jump into Truvy, since this is Lawyer Stories, really, like we like to talk about the background of the people and where they came from. Sort of, we don't want to go too fast through the story, but why don't you just give us a little background about yourself, Jay?
Absolutely. So Benny, my background is in a field called operations research. So it's actually an extension of computer science and industrial engineering to begin with. And then I actually went into the PhD program at Georgia Tech at the business school. Didn't finish it, but spent about 2.5 years over there, which allowed me to understand how to connect data with the real world. And kind of the first steps into what we call an applied data scientist into the world. So that's how I started with the world of AI and data science. Then worked on in different industries, working on really large scale AI models or data science and machine learning models, mainly for the Fortune 500. If you really fast forward early 2020, when the COVID pandemic hit, I actually worked on a big machine learning project when people were out of meat and there was distribution problems and whatnot. So really worked on really large scale problems and all the way down to law firms eventually. So
yeah, that's awesome that you've definitely done a lot up to this point. So tell us, give us the why. What made you so interested in the intersection of technology and business? What is the driving factor that got you into that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So probably earlier on too in my life, I've always been fascinated about solving problems with limited resources. And going after the big problem with limited resources and try to tackle that problem. And obviously over the course of life, you run into resource limitations in terms of you need more people, you need to understand and go deep dive into a problem. So I was really fascinated with that aspect of connecting technologies and people and processes, and that's how I started with it. If I really go back all the way back when I think I was about 10 years old, I have an older brother who is about roughly about 2 years older than me.
Okay.
So I was recording the stipends that we were getting from our father, and over time I realized my brother was getting more than me. I was like, what is going on? Something is wrong. I went to my dad and said, hey Dad, you actually need to give me a little more. Here is everything that you've been given to my brother, and here's everything you're giving to me. So then he was like, oh my God, I think I'm in trouble with this guy. So that's how I started.
That's funny. So, well, it's your brother's mistake for showing how much he was getting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But that's how I got into data analytics too, kind of the first steps into the process.
Yeah. So I did peek at your LinkedIn and it says, you have a passion to work on complex problems that require a combination of mathematics, operation research, software engineering and IT, and creativity. That is those are a lot of complicated things sort of synthesized together. Like,
Mhm.
what exactly does that mean? We know how you got into it, like your drive for it, but like, what does that mean? Like the type of things that you're interested in there.
Yeah, if you really take any big problems that people are going after now, you will see that actually the technology is always there. So the technology is what enables us to solve those problems, and there's some kind of math behind it, like all of the AI models that we can dive into. There's some kind of math behind it too, to really deliver and solve a problem efficiently. You need a process behind it as well, and to put it all together, you need creativity. So it's a combination of those things that allows you to solve in a problem. So that's kind of how I approach in a problem that I have, is looking at those four aspects and really think through the problem before I dive deeper. And
Wow. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's really interesting. Those are like four complicated subjects that are interwoven into each other. So right now, you're the co-founder and the CEO of Truvy.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about Truvy, just a background, because we definitely have some follow-up questions about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Truvy was born a few years ago during the early times of COVID as well. So my co-founder Zach and co-founder and CTO Zach and I actually had a consulting company where we were helping law firms just doing data analysis and analyzing and understanding what is going well, what is not going well in their operations. And over time, we've seen how much digital transformation these law firms were going through. Like they had to use a case management system, a CRM system. They needed to switch from traditional media to social media. They need to create content.
Mhm.
Then they need to do Google ads and they need to do call tracking. Um, there was just so much that they had to do. We've seen how frustrated those law firms grew over time.
Over time, yeah. Because I feel like
And
these things are all, not to cut you off, but I feel like these things are all new things, like out of the last like 10 to 20 years. I don't think everything that you just described, I don't think like law firms were always looking at those things.
absolutely, absolutely. And one of a sudden, if you think about it, you have these 10 technologies, and they look at each one of them separately, and there's not a single technology that brings all of this together and connects all the dots.
Right.
So our initial aspiration was to bring all of this data together and create this big company performance dashboard. So that's what Truvy is, a company or a law firm performance dashboard that shows everything from all the way from marketing to the settlement of a case.
Wow.
Things like, where are you getting cases from? How many cases are you getting for a specific case type? What is the total average number of cases per paralegal? Are you
Yeah,
spending more money? Yeah.
it's crazy, man. Like I remember the day, like hearing, people just want the phone to ring, the telephone. It's got to ring. We got to get those cases. Like people got to call, and now like everything's turned to technology, and with law firms. I mean, capturing cases, case leads. Like, why law firms for you? Why did you specifically target attorneys
Mhm.
and law firms?
Um, Honestly, the very reason we've started that consulting company before Truby was, with my co-founder, we sat down and said, let's actually go after industries that are not using their data as much as they should. And we came up with this list of industries. So it was
Okay.
law firms, doctors, chiropractors, real estate companies, sort of some like distribution companies. So we came up with a list, and you're like, all right, you're gonna go after lawyers and doctors. So we have started actually a lot earlier with the AI in the legal field.
Right.
And as soon as we started working with law firms, one of a sudden we had so much demand we couldn't even handle
Wow. Okay.
one by one. That's when we also like started to think about, we need to actually give more to the law firms and provide the service to 3,000, 5,000 law firms instead of just 10
It's
that we
amazing.
can handle individually.
Wow. And you mentioned AI. And so, I do want to go down that path a little bit. It's such a big thing now. in our world, like a lot of controversy. We had somebody, a medical attorney or an attorney who represents patients, talk about AI and that sort of thing with the last release, episode release. So what is like your definition of artificial intelligence, of AI?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of buzz around AI, and it's
Buzz.
a really big term, um, and it can mean a lot of different things. For me, anything that increases the efficiency of a person, anything that actually takes a repeatable process, or any basic learning that you can get from data, you can consider that as AI. Anything that improves the lives of people. That's again a
Amazing.
very,
I mean,
yeah.
do you think people are going to be writing like love letters in AI too, and like stuff like that? I mean, is that where we're headed? Like
Absolutely.
college papers? I mean, what's the sense, right?
Especially, now there's also quantum computers coming, which is likely going to be the big thing in the next few years. With
Yeah,
that, it's like the AI, the learning and the knowledge of AIs are going to get significantly stronger.
right.
So that's, I think you're right. I think there's going to be people falling in love with some kind of AI there.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I mean, just like write a letter to my wife about why I missed my anniversary or something like that, right?
yeah,
Never have.
absolutely.
I'm just saying, like that's.
Yeah,
I
you
think we're
can
going down
automate
that
that.
road, Jay. I don't know, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's super interesting. It's helpful for law firms. So, I'm sorry. Do you have anything
Yeah.
else you wanted to say
Yeah,
about AI?
I just wanted to say, like, there's one thing that we are seeing right now in the world of AI, and I think that's important. So, if you go back about 5 to 10 years, these types of AI technologies, like, normal people did not know that these technologies existed. To really have access to these technologies, you would need to hire really, top-notch engineers. You would
Mhm.
need to spend a lot of money on technology, and you would need like multiple millions of dollars to be able to build and access these technologies. But now we are seeing a big shift in the world, in which there are companies like Truvy, that makes access to these technologies a lot easier and a lot affordable, just because those algorithms and those models
Yep.
are already accessible by a lot of people. So
Right.
we're now seeing a shift towards everybody having some kind of access to the AI technologies, and that's kind of kind of what is in the essence of Truvy as well, is enabling law firms with the with the power of AI, and all the legal professionals. So I just wanted to say that, like, that's kind of the shift you're seeing right now in the world.
And how is it used by Truvy? Like, what are you guys doing with it?
So we have two really big models, big AI models. One is called case value estimator,
Right.
also known as anti-colossus. So case value estimator, for those who don't know, we're not in the personal injury field. When you think about a personal injury case, there's a plaintiff law firm and an insurance company. So in the US, there's about 75,000 personal injury law firms,
Wow.
and about 7 to 10 really large insurance companies. So if you think about it, you have 75,000 on one side, and then 7 to 10 on the other side. The amount of aggregation, the amount of data that the insurance companies have are significantly more than these individual smaller to mid-sized to large law firms on
Right.
the personal injury side. So back in the 80s, insurance companies built a model called Colossus that actually would assign a value to every injury that a person gets in a traffic accident, and every treatment that a person gets, the
Unbelievable.
county, the county that that person lives, and even they would know every single attorney and how strong an attorney is. So when you went to fight as a plaintiff lawyer with these insurance companies, they would already have the blueprint of, like, all right, here is how much your case is worth, and they
Wow.
would constantly push it down from top to bottom. So what we have done is created a model, a significantly stronger model called case value estimator, that actually is bringing all of these plaintiff law firms under one platform and use that intelligence to actually push back. So
Wow.
that's one model that's constantly learning and getting better and smarter in maximizing and understanding the values of cases.
How do you get that info? Like that's based on the other, like all the different cases. Like
it's looking at over 100 data points. So it's looking at all the historical cases that have settled. It's looking at all the injuries and treatments that are part of it, where the accident happened, the age of the person. There's even a part where it looks at an expert opinion about the value of the case.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I was reading that about Truvy, and I think that's amazing. How do you have access to that info? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So we have integrations with most of the major personal case management systems like Filevine, Litify, Clio, Smart Advocate, MyCase. So we basically connect to those systems and automatically pull all of that data. Our models start learning about the patterns of for a given law firm, what really impacts the value of a case. It even learns things like, the same case, when you put a different attorney on the same case, you may get a different value. So it's really important also to put the right attorney and right paralegal, right staff on the right project.
Wow.
So it's also learning those patterns too.
That's unbelievable. That's so technical. And and Truvy is the only one who does this right now with the integrations of other.
We're not aware of anybody else that is doing it at the scale of ours. Again, that's as the other thing is like as more law firms join and wants to contribute to this model, the model gets stronger and smarter and learns more. So it's really getting stronger as we have access to more data, and then at some point, based on obviously law firms agreeing on sharing their data, we are planning on creating some kind of like market case valuation too. So the goal is to be the KBB of case valuation at some point, and really be able to provide accurate case values.
Wow. Okay, and you pull some of that info from the other systems in order to make that. That's incredible.
Yeah, so we scan all of the medical documents, get all of the information automatically from medical documents, medical bills, your CRM data, your case management data, your social media data, all of that. Whatever impacts the value of the case, we pull it from the system. That information lies, and then that all contributes to the valuation process. So that's one of our AI technologies. The second one is one that we recently announced. It's called Legal Demands.
Okay.
And it's a demand letter generation technology. So again, in a legal case, you need to put together that demand letter at the end of the case to state your demand. A demand letter takes about 6 to 8 hours of a senior, an attorney, basically an attorney on average. So we're trying to do it under 30 seconds.
Whoa! What? How do you bill the client then? Like you can't. I mean, can you bill them for 8 hours though? That's awesome though. I mean, if it's personal injury, it doesn't matter because it's contingency anyway. But
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there are a few ways you can use that information. So obviously, we don't recommend. We don't advise our clients to use those letters directly. It's just an initial draft that they can actually start and update and send. Yeah, it takes your police reports, medical documents, your bills, expenses, anything related to a case, photos, and it basically takes all of that, and then also takes your top demand letter templates or top demand letters that you created before. It learns from your style, and it generates the demand letter like you in under 30 seconds. We are now down to about 3 minutes. So we are getting very close to our target, but even that is pretty strong, and we are getting really good feedback from our beta clients right now. Yeah, so that's exciting. That's using the generative AI technologies like GPT and a few others that are in the market.
That's super cool, Jay. I love that.
Mhm.
So how is this like shifting how law firms are operating today? Would you say?
Um, yeah, I mean, so the main idea of Truvy is law firm efficiency and showing the performance of a law firm. So maybe I'll add a little bit more color. So our Truvy platform, we have looked over 700 metrics that are relevant to any law firm of any size and any role at a given law firm. So when you go to Truvy, if you're an attorney, you see everything that's relevant to you. You may be seeing your cases and how many cases do you have, how efficiently you're converting cases. And if you're a paralegal, you may be seeing different dashboards. And if you are a finance person, you may be seeing, different dashboards.
Mhm.
So it is definitely shifting the way the law firms think. They're a lot more tactical and operational in decision making, and it's moving a lot faster now. So, which increases their efficiencies, and they're able to handle more cases at any given point. So, this is also effectively increasing the size of the market, just because what used to people did not used to have access to legal services as much as they do today. So it's really democratizing the access to legal services too.
Yeah. I
So
mean, Truvy is like just hearing it for the last like 15 minutes, it's like a game changer. I don't think I've ever heard of like things like this. I mean, obviously like I've talked to legal tech companies, but this is really interesting. The AI thing is really a game changer. Uh, like, do you see any other shifts in technology happening in the legal
yeah.
profession?
Just in the legal field, we're now looking at technology that shows, let's say how your operations are going when it comes to like, marketing and social media and whatnot. Usually what follows this is predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics.
Yep.
What that means is basically just going one step further, not just showing you what's going on, not just showing you the performance, but also telling you what the prescription is. So really, smart notifications and letting people know what they need to do. So um, I'll just give you an example for the case value estimator. So our initial step was to create that model that tells a law firm, here is the value of your case, let's say $80,000. And the law firm is, okay, $80,000 is good, but I want to know why it's $80,000. And when we looked at some of those cases, let's say in some of the cases, law firms did not did not get an MRI on the case, and the model figured out that actually that case, based on all the information that they entered, would need an MRI, and therefore the value of the case would be an additional $5,000. So then we've flipped the script there a little bit and said, all right, we're not just going to give you the the value, but we are actually going to go back and tell you exactly what you need to do to get to that number. Now we are prescribing the steps that a law firm needs to take. So so that those prescriptive models that direct and support the decision making is going to be the next shift. And I'm very excited because we've started that with case value estimator already.
Sure. Yeah, that's like something else. Do you think AI is going to like eventually replace lawyers?
Yeah, I actually get that question quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, so obviously the answer is no. And this is like shared quite often by other people too. But like this is almost like the if you look at the history, when people found cars, a lot of people thought that like they're going to be out of jobs.
Yep.
During Industrial Revolution, people thought that they're going to be out of jobs. When something like AI comes, it only grows the economy and the speed at which things go. So The economies are going to grow. The economic impact of AI is going to be big. Though I'm going to say this, even though AI is not going to replace lawyers, lawyers that use AI may actually replace lawyers who do not use AI.
Okay.
So if you're not efficient, if you're
Yeah.
not using the technology to stay competitive,
Yeah.
there's going to be law firms that are going to be competitive.
That
And
actually leads like right into my next question, which is like, what advice would you have for attorneys regarding being ahead of the curve with AI?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's it- a lot of lawyers and law firms. So there is a component of law that is connected to service, and a lot of law firms and law firm owners, they don't want to think a law operation as a business, but actually they should be thinking at the end of the day. Um, there's a part of it that actually supports the day-to-day life of human beings. Like you have employees, you have your family, you have your kids, so you really need to think about it as a business.
Mhm.
And whenever I go to conferences to these for these law firms, one thing I say is like a three-step process: understand, automate, and then optimize.
Right.
So one, treat your law firm as a business, then understand what is not going right.
Hmm.
So to understand that, you need to look at your data. You need to know what is not going right. Just look at it from a macro perspective and understand what's not going right. Then look for automation opportunities. Once you look for automation opportunities, then you actually optimize. Then you optimize your processes to be a lot more effective and faster. So I would say, yeah, it's never late. Get started as soon as possible. Look
Yeah.
at your data. Data is not gonna lie. You're gonna find everything under your data, and you're here to support whenever they need support. And yeah, just go use your data.
I mean, it seems like everybody who gets their, all the attorneys who can get their data into Truvy, what the more accurate it can get. I mean, down to like probably the cent. You know what I mean? Right? I mean, it just seems it would be great to have an aggregate of all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had so if you look at the logo of Truvi, it's an arrow with a spark.
Yep.
So we are here to kind of show those spark moments. We had a few cases where we did the integration to Truvi and then showed it to the law firm and owners, and then they're like looking at the data, and it's like it's very digestible. It's beautifully designed,
Mhm.
and they're like, this cannot be right. This cannot be right. And we're like, well, this is what your data says. And in a few cases, they're like, well, I thought I was making significant amount of money and I'm spending 50% of my resources on that one case type, but it looks like I'm only making, let's say 1 to 3%.
Yep.
And I'm spending 50% of my employees on that.
Hmm.
They're like, we're just going to drop that entire case type and we're going to put all of our focus on these 5-6 case types, and within 12 months they would double their revenues. And it's just mind-blowing. So we are here for those spark moments where you look at your data, analyze it, and
Right.
see what you can do to maximize the value.
When you say case type, are you talking about within personal injury?
Not just person. So we are not just personal injury
Okay.
specific.
That's what I want to know.
So yeah, so personal injury, workers' compensation.
Okay.
We do business law, getting
Okay.
into mass torts now. So
Mass
expanding
torts.
it,
Yeah, that's a big one. Okay.
expanding into other fields. A similar technology we are working on, similar to legal demands in mass torts space as well. So hopefully we're gonna announce that pretty soon too.
That's awesome. So how would you get like the sales piece of you? Like how would you get a traditional, like maybe older attorney who's just used to going to a book to like find their case law? Like how do you get them to believe in the power of Truvy and AI? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, but with a minimum, a law firm needs to be using a case management system. And like we're really not, when we talk to these law firms, we're really not trying to sell Truvy. What we are really trying to tell them is, look, if you're using, those old folders and writing things on the papers and whatnot, your room is going to be filled and you're only going to be able to handle, I don't know, 50 cases.
Right.
You're going to do a good job, but you're going to be able to handle only 50 cases. Look at the law firm next to you, the same size, and they're able to handle 2,000 cases.
Ooh. Yeah.
So first, just the first step is the believing in digital transformation or digitalization.
Sure.
So go for a case management system. Then that's kind of first step, and that's usually a good start, actually, to begin with. And then there's actually a little bit of a retention between a case management system to a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, well, if I sign a case, I sign a case. I don't need to record everything I didn't sign, but that's not true. So like then that's kind of the next step. And usually the people who are using a CRM system, they already know the value of their data because
Right.
now they're thinking about, all right, 100 people called me and I've converted 5. Why did I lose the remaining 95? So that mindset is actually, once you get in that, it's addictive. You start thinking that's the beginning of everything. So
Right.
then it's easier to to go from there. But again, like all we're trying to do is help law firms digitalize, stay competitive, and we want to make this product specifically accessible to everyone.
Right.
So it's not just large law firms that has access to something like
Sure.
Truvy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, Jay, how would you say Truvy differs from other like digital platforms, case management? I know it's not case management, but other platforms out there.
Absolutely. So we are legal specific, Benny. So again, we have looked at over 700 metrics that any law firm at any level might be needing. And then we are only showing what is important, what is relevant to these law firms. It's a no-touch system. So once you integrate, you're able to see your metrics and dashboards right away. It's not like you need to go through this like 3 months of implementation.
When you say what, let me stop right there because you're
Sure.
speaking a language that I think like maybe some people don't understand. But like when you say once you integrate, what does that mean? You're talking about your other case management systems. You're talking about your social media. How does that work? Sort of.
Yeah. So it's just this one page on Truvy that says, there's a connections page, you connect your case management system. So it's a few clicks and it connects. You connect your Instagram page, LinkedIn, your Facebook, your QuickBooks, your Google Ads account. And then as soon as you connect, in the background, it starts pulling all of that data, starts analyzing it, and then boom, it starts showing.
So what does it do for like Instagram, say? Like what would it take from Instagram?
So it would take all of your follower information. It would take all of your page insights, and then it would actually show you, as an example, one thing that it's going to show is when are your followers most active. That means, you can see hour by hour how many of your followers are online. And with that information, you can actually plan your posts. You can see what posts are most engaging, what hashtags are most engaging. So, if you there's another dashboard that shows you where your leads are coming from. If you see that your leads are mostly coming from Instagram, then you can actually go back and change your Instagram strategy and tweak your posts a little bit to get more of the more of the valuable stuff.
That's awesome. That's really interesting. So not like specific people, but it just shows you like the time of day it's more active, and that's really important analytics. And it's all in one place. Like you just connect everything in, and it sort of like uploads and integrates on your platform on Truvy.
Absolutely. So like one really guiding technology there is we have a marketing spend optimizer AI model. It's a new model that we've been working on too. So it's looking at your campaigns from like ads from different platforms, and then gives you an estimation of like, if you had $100 today, how should you spend that $100? Should you put $20 on Instagram and $50 on Google Ads, and then $10 on radio and $20 on billboards? So it is do that type of analysis that can guide your kind of thinking towards, all right, here's how much I'm going to put in Instagram, and then kind of go from there to strategize your way into getting more leads.
So is Truvy the type of thing where, say you have like 4 people in a law office, you have each person working in like one area, like if you have a marketing person, they could be logged in and working on the items that you were just discussing, and then you have your finance person, like, or front desk person working on like your the money management, the QuickBooks that you said you could connect, and then like the attorneys looking at the cases, the paralegal. Is that how it sort of breaks down?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So just the performance of whatever you're working on real time.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Cool. So do you guys offer training, and like is pricing different for like a solo practitioner than like a big firm?
It's actually so there's a basic platform access fee, and then it's per user pricing after that. It doesn't matter if you have 3 people or 1,000 people, it is the same technology. So there's no limitation. Any AI module is like an additional monthly addition to it, but you can start as simple as having a few integrations to 15, 20 integrations. The more technology you connect, the more data you have, and the more value you get. But
and you could have as many users on it as you need, or
absolutely.
Okay, wow, that's great. So all right, I asked you about social media, Instagram. That was the question that I had. I was pretty interesting because when I perused around the system, I saw that, and it has everything. It really does. So is this like an all-in-one platform? Like, what else will somebody need who goes with Truvy and a firm that decides to work with you?
Yeah. So, our integrations are growing. The main integration is the case management system. So if the case management system you have is not one of the ones that we already have, that may be a little bit of a bummer. But if it is a major case management system, it is going to be there. You're gonna be adding that. I also want to say, so I'm just going to take the example of Instagram. So there's a lot of Instagram data analysis technologies that are going to go far deeper and into the detail that we are not going to go. Like the goal of Truve is not to be like the deep dive Instagram analyzers, but we are really trying to show what is really important, what are the most important things to the law firms. So that's the separation there. If you look at individually, you're going to find a lot stronger technologies, but we're really trying to focus on what is relevant to legal and what is most important. So if that answers your question.
That's awesome. Yeah. How do you prevent someone from being like overwhelmed? I know it's a very nice platform when you sign on, but I know we touched on like maybe an older attorney, or I'm not trying to be ageist or anything here, but like somebody who's even me, who's not like a huge technology type of person. Like, how do you, when they sign on, like what do you tell somebody to be like less overwhelmed by all of the like amazing things? Because it's like you want to click on everything. I mean, because it all looks so helpful. So, how would you present that to somebody?
Yeah, like we intentionally made our platform super simple, and that's why we said, all right, like we can build anything, right? Like we have, again, over 700 metrics. Amazing. But we are only showing you 10 to 15 because you don't need to see more to begin with, and it's very easily digestible. So again, like we want to make access to insights very easy. So it's actually, if you go to the platform, just looking at the the cards, dashboard cards is what we call, it is very easy to understand. So it's like you have your active cases by phase. As an example, you can see like a bar chart. You have 10 cases that are at the intake phase. You have 50 cases in treatment, and you can click treatment, and then you can see all the cases that you have in treatment. So it is very, what we call human-centric design when it comes to the product. And
Right.
we constantly get feedback and make sure if somebody feels overwhelmed, we make sure we take that into account as we improve and get our product to a better place.
That's awesome. Well, I think it looks great. Jay, did we leave anything out? Is there anything else that you want to touch on that maybe we didn't get to today?
No, really enjoyed the conversation, Benny. I appreciate having me today. It's been an amazing conversation today.
Yeah, no, for sure. And if there's ever anybody that I can personally connect you with, I'd be happy to do that. So, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting with us. Jay Sarmaz from Truve. Stay right there. And everybody else, wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.